Tehran's night is alive with fire and fear. The city pulses with tension, every corner echoing with the sounds of unrest. Shadows flicker across shattered windows, and the air is thick with uncertainty, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Streets once filled with life are now battlegrounds. The familiar hum of daily routines has been replaced by the distant shouts of protest and the heavy silence that follows chaos. Each block tells a story of upheaval and loss. Ordinary Iranians, students, parents, shopkeepers face off against heavily armed security forces. Their faces are etched with determination and fear, united by a longing for change that outweighs their dread. Burning barricades cast flickering light on chaos and defiance. The flames illuminate not just the streets, but the resolve of those who refuse to be silenced, even as danger closes in. Across the country, from the Caspian Sea to the Persian Gulf, the same story unfolds: a nation in revolt. In city squares and rural towns alike, voices rise together demanding justice and dignity. The government responds with overwhelming force, turning pleas for change into tragedy. Tear gas clouds the air, and the sound of gunfire shatters the night as hope collides with harsh reality. Protesters risk everything, knowing every step could be fatal. Yet, they press on, driven by a belief that their sacrifice might one day bring freedom for future generations. The unrest is nationwide, fueled by years of anger and hopelessness. Decades of broken promises and mounting frustrations have ignited a movement that refuses to be ignored. Families huddle indoors, praying for loved ones as sirens wail outside. Each night brings new fears, as parents comfort children and hope for a dawn without violence. The streets are stained with blood. Safety is a luxury few can afford. Every loss deepens the wounds of a nation already scarred by years of hardship. Iran stands at a crossroads, its people's courage undeniable, the cost unbearably high. The future is uncertain, but the spirit of resistance endures, burning brighter with every challenge. The world watches, breath held, as a proud nation teeters on the edge. In living rooms and newsrooms across the globe, eyes are fixed on Iran, waiting to see what tomorrow will bring. These protests are years in the making, born from economic collapse, repression, and lost hope. What began as anger over soaring prices quickly became a demand for fundamental change. Iranians from all walks of life united, their voices echoing across every province. Slogans like "Woman, Life, Freedom, Return," now joined by calls for the regime's end. The government's dismissals and crackdowns only fuel the fire. Local grievances merge into a national outcry, bridging divides the regime once exploited. The uprising is no longer about bread or jobs, it's about dignity, rights, and the future. A unified front now challenges the regime's very existence. The regime's answer is brutal and unyielding. Snipers are stationed on rooftops, their rifles trained on crowds below. Riot police storm the streets, beating protesters with batons, while plainclothes agents drag people away. Mass arrests sweep through neighborhoods, targeting anyone suspected of dissent, leaving families terrified and communities shattered. In just a few weeks, over 2,000 protesters have been killed, their bodies filling morgues and hospital corridors. The true toll, hidden by the regime's secrecy, is almost certainly higher. Many deaths go unreported, and some victims simply disappear. Among the dead are children, young lives cut short, their families left to mourn in silence or risk further punishment for speaking out. Hospitals are overwhelmed, corridors packed with the wounded. Medical supplies run dangerously low and doctors work under threat. Many injured protesters are too afraid to seek help, fearing arrest or retribution if they are identified. Thousands more are detained, swept up in a relentless campaign to crush dissent. Prisons overflow with political prisoners, many held without charge or access to legal counsel. Mortuaries overflow, families are denied the right to mourn, and the dead are often buried in secret, under cover of darkness, to prevent public funerals from becoming acts of defiance. The regime's cruelty is calculated, to erase victims from memory and terrify survivors into silence. Streets are patrolled by masked security forces, and even memorials for the dead are destroyed. Human rights groups scramble to document the horror, collecting testimonies and evidence, but the crackdown is relentless, and the risks are immense for those who dare to speak. The message from the authorities is unmistakable. Any act of dissent will be met with overwhelming force, and no one is truly safe. Yet, even as fear haunts Iran's streets, the spirit of resistance endures. Graffiti appears overnight, and defiant protesters still raise their voices, refusing to be silenced. The regime plunges Iran into digital darkness, cutting internet and mobile access for days. This blackout isolates protesters, blocks news, and hides the crackdown from the world. Security forces search cars and phones, hunting for evidence of dissent. A text or photo can mean arrest, or worse. The legal system is weaponized. Protesters face sham trials and death sentences. The first execution is imminent. Irfan Soltani, 26, faces the gallows after a 2-day trial. International outrage grows, but the regime is unmoved. The blackout and executions are state terror, meant to silence a nation. As Iran burns, the world responds, some with caution, but the US with forceful rhetoric. Former President Trump threatens crippling tariffs on any nation trading with Iran, aiming to isolate the regime. He warns of very strong action if executions proceed, canceling all talks with Iranian officials. Trump's message to Iranians: keep protesting, help is on its way, MIGA, make Iran great again. These words are meant to embolden protesters and rattle the regime. The US stance is clear: no negotiation until the violence ends. The world's eyes are on Iran, and the stakes have never been higher. Iran stands on a knife's edge. Its fate will shape not only the region, but the world at large. The choices made in the coming months could ripple far beyond its borders, influencing global politics, security, and the hopes of millions. The regime faces its gravest threat in decades. Continued violence risks civil war and regional chaos. Each confrontation on the streets deepens the wounds of a nation already struggling with economic hardship and political isolation. The execution of Irfan Soltani could ignite new fury or deepen fear. His story has become a symbol for many, fueling both outrage and sorrow, and raising urgent questions about justice and the cost of dissent. Protesters fight to break the blackout and keep their story alive. Despite crackdowns and internet shutdowns, they risk everything to share their voices with the world, determined not to be silenced. The US maximum pressure strategy could tip the balance, or provoke disaster. Sanctions squeeze the economy, while military threats raise the stakes, leaving the region on edge and the world watching anxiously. Other world powers must choose confrontation or diplomacy as time runs out. Their decisions will shape not just Iran's future, but the stability of the entire Middle East and the prospects for peace. Ultimately, Iran's future lies with its people, their courage, their unity, and their will to endure. In the face of fear and uncertainty, ordinary Iranians continue to hope, to resist, and to dream of a better tomorrow. The world hopes for a breakthrough, but fears the worst. Every headline, every protest, every diplomatic move is watched with bated breath, as the stakes grow higher with each passing day. In the storm of fire and blood, a nation's destiny hangs in the balance. The coming days will test the resolve of a people and the wisdom of leaders as the world waits to see what future will emerge from the turmoil.